Good morning out there, way out there, in there, out there, from in here, out here. Spring, it really feeling like spring, isn't it? Here's Vivi's note. Vivi's in the other room. After her walk, she gets a treat, but she seems to be on the bed. She doesn't seem to be on the bed, she's on the bed. She seems to be savoring her treat. So, my Ed McMahon is not with me. The implication is I am not Johnny Carson. But, you know. Whoa, what a week. What a week. First, I have to tell you this hilarious story. Oh, here she comes. Here she comes. Come on up and greet everybody. Come, Vivi, come, hop up. Look at this, hop up. Hop up. That's my girl. Another leg. Ooh. Here we go. Mwah. Good morning. Can you say good morning to everybody? Say good morning to everybody. I turned the camera up. I turned the camera to get Vivi. My bad. It's going to be a funny one. Well, I have to tell you this story because now I have some things that I'm pretty firm about. I try not to campaign them, but one is post John Locke. We do not own the land. We live on it, and we don't own it, even if it is real estate in the world. Maybe it's false estate. Anyway, we don't own it. And so our dear couple, Jennifer and Beth, live 2 doors down, and they decided to take out the... We moving around? Okay, old buddy. They decided to... I love your little snuggle. There you go. They decided to take out their garden last fall. Well, unbeknownst to anybody, they tossed it in the woods behind our places here. Now, the property lines the woods, part of it over in here, doesn't matter, but the point is, it's owned by these billionaires. So this is one of my first experiences with the American class system, or as Gatsby says, the wealthy are not like us. So here's, well, we're not indigent, but after all, come on, 38 years teaching college, okay. A woman who was sick for 15, okay. So they tossed all the plants into the woods in the fall, thinking that's the end of them. They survived the winter, and they came up this spring, all these plants. Jackie has an idea. Let's make a new garden behind our house and save all those plants. Why not? So I'm lugging plant after plant. I mean, like 40 plants, more than that, and planting them in our garden. They have photographs of me stealing plants from their property. I may be hauled in. Our next show may be behind bars because the billionaires are building McMansions behind us. And everybody says, oh, you have to look at those. And I go, no, they have to look at the people who live in condos. Now, I have to be careful because, of course, we're better off than anybody. But it's just, the real level is that next one up. Not everybody. I love you out there if you're very wealthy and you're a billionaire. You wouldn't be watching this if I didn't love you to bits. But they're not going to watch it. They're just going to take me in. They have photographs. Yes, knocking at the door yesterday. So poor Vivi is no longer allowed in their woods because she might defecate. Well, she's just trespass. Don't you love that word, trespassing? We walk all through everyone's yards. When you were a kid, didn't you run through everybody's backyard? Trespassing, isn't that just the ugly word? I'm going on too long. But it troubles me on another level, and we won't go there. So, speaking of tough times, oh my gosh, we had our last of this term, and then we start again in July, our landscapes. Everybody's back. Nobody will leave it. They love each other so much. We were almost volunteers. And we also had a really interesting discussion. But, okay, so landscapes last night, and everybody brought a poem, and we read them, and we commented and responded, and I'm telling you, they were better than most of the ones I look at in literary magazines, and we have to get poetry out of literary magazines. That's another campaign that I won't succeed in, but I want poetry out of no more literary magazines. Let's get the stuff where it belongs in the public, in health magazines, and it's Mental Health Month this month. And as a member of 5 different psychiatric hospitals, I raised my glass to those who enabled me, after a long struggle, to, for 40 years now, not be in a psychiatric hospital. And I thank Julie for standing by me and helping me get to this place. Now, I'm not all okay. Let's not fake each other out here. I'm not all okay. But 40 years, taught all those years, still doing it. Sometimes I think I'm a monkey. No. Okay, so Kathleen Markland is in our group. Kathleen had to spend almost $9,000, you know, on what? 100 and some mice in her house. 100 and some mice in her house. Had to re-insulate the entire house. And another thing she learned was that the people doing the work didn't really know how to do the work. They line up for work every morning at this place. And so she's sitting there having to be repaired, her heart broken to see these people trying to get by, living in this beautiful house. But she would let me walk in her yard. I want you to know that. Yeah. And she's just the most beautiful person. So that broke our hearts. We had a fascinating discussion. Robbie Hart writes beautiful poems too. They all do. All 12. Some of them have come to the place where they're now writing these. Never would have been able to write these in the past. And it's because of the influence of all of them on each other. I just sit there and go, okay. They just help each other all the time. Brilliantly, beautifully. And it breaks my heart because we live in America where nobody gives a damn. And here's things that could heal people and help people and strengthen people and help them feel less alone. And so Robbie Hart writes this beautiful, beautiful poem about her husband who had lost a job years ago. And she describes this, and then his response to losing the job is that he's a failure, he's no good, he's not a success, he's not that. And then her response to it is all these beautiful scenes that they live within. That's her talking to him. When it was done, we had this discussion about the feminist movement and women working hard to get to be in positions, fighting misogyny and overcoming and not overcoming and being persecuted, blah, 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 blah. And then the men in the group said, but see, this poem's also about the fact that the only definition we have as men is success, job, money making. We can't get past it. Nobody's helping us. Nobody's saying anything to us about doing the laundry or looking at the sunset. I'm telling you, there were 12 people's hearts broken over that. It was fascinating and insightful. How do you get that good coffee? Let's see what else we have in the little book. Oh, the dog show. You watched the dog show. We always watch. I haven't even said welcome to the Sentimentalist. And good morning, Mark and Mariana. We hope Deb gets well, and Louise. Oh, jeez. Holy cow, chipmunks. We have them, you have them. Something's getting into the bird feeders at night. And I don't know whether I'm supposed to keep filling. What do you think, Viv? Should I keep filling the bird feeders? Even though it's something else that's in there? I think it's a possum. Would a possum be able to get up a pole and help me out with that? I watched our pastor at UCC Church's sermon this week, and some of the comments. I made that mistake. Why did I do that? One was, when are we going to get this blasphemer out of town? I don't know anybody who loves the whole life and mission of Jesus more than Sal, but we have to get this blasphemer out of town. He doesn't know his doctrines and his theology. You do understand that theology is not in the Bible. It's an interpretation by a bunch of guys. And it would be guys, wouldn't it? Did I say it's Mental Health Month? And it's Mother's Month. And I hope you had a wonderful mother. Let's see, is there anything else? Oh, a wonderful word came up. Claudia Cummins has this site that I've recommended to you called First Sip. First Sip in the morning. And she wrote a beautiful little, no, I shouldn't say little, a beautiful essay on the word ease and how seldom we use that word ease. Isn't that nice? Do things or not do things with ease. Just, doesn't it make you breathe different? Ease. Just thinking about, take deep breaths. Very nice. What fell? Something came down. Notes everywhere. We all have notes, don't we? I think. And I watched, oh my gosh, what a family amazing thing Monday. Our daughter that we love madly, and we have no problem with that, and are proud of madly, and no problem with that. She didn't know. We had to keep this a secret for almost 6 weeks. So there's this high school assembly, the honors assembly. Do you ever have somebody, get a merit scholarship and have about 1,000 students whooping? It's high school. It's wonderful. Oh my gosh, you should have seen the outfits they wear. And I had to wear chino pants, a shirt, and a vest to go to my high school. Holy cow. I've just got some Gloria Vanderbilt jeans here. I think, whip. No, good. I scared you out of your wits, didn't I? These $150 jeans now have holes in their knees. Boy, do I love the lack of a dress code. It was just fabulous. But anyway, they showed the review of the year, a film, the review of the year. 87% of it were photographs of sports. Is that high school or what? You can see the art kids, the theater kids, or the kid kids, or the industrial kids just sitting there going, hello. Let's see, I could throw a hammer, I guess. I don't know. Wow, that was very funny. So, but anyway, at the end, they said, we're dedicating this year's yearbook to Meredith Riddle. Isn't that? Well, and we had about a dozen beautiful people, dear friends of hers there. We were all hiding in the back, And dear Elliot Slink had set it up for us, hit us beforehand, and then brought us down and sneaked us in the auditorium. And we got to see Meredith get that. 15 years there, and it's been a hard time for her. There's some mean parents out there, folks. Boy, unfortunately, they're dumb. Dumb and mean. When those two meet up, whoo, head for the hills, head for the hills. And the last thing I'd like to mention is that there was a beautiful reading the other night by Darius Adifat Peckham of his mother's poems, his late mother's poems. Susan Adifat Peckham, edited by Darius Adifat Peckham. He's a marvelous poet himself in the major magazines, which I wish he wasn't, but I don't mean that he doesn't deserve to be. And he's only a junior in college at Harvard. But he found this manuscript of poems that his mother had never published, that were the next poems that she would have before she was killed in the car accident. And he was 3 years old when that happened. And now he's come around and he was able to read these poems. And he read them beautifully. And it was just very moving. And this is a Persian cover. The cover is Persian. And he, I don't know how he did that. He said it was hard. So, a remarkable book by the late, beautiful, wonderful Susan Adifat Peckham. Mother's Day, huh? So let's read a mother's poem. It's Vivian's licking my knee. That's good. Come on up again. Well, here, this is Vivi's Soggy Llama. Hi, how are you? I'm that Soggy Llama. Here you go, Viv. Come on. Want to come back up? Okay. Molly's over here scratching herself. That's good. I think I know the page. Oh, I don't. Anyway, this is a Mother's Day poem, and I've read this poem a lot, but that always cracks me up when somebody says, and including me, well, I've read this. You've probably heard this poem before. No, I don't remember poems. You could read it this afternoon, and it would be new to me. But so we'll read this poem for our mothers. This is called The Drywallers Listen to Sinatra While They Work. We had drywallers in 3 houses ago, and they loved Sinatra, so I would put all these CDs of Sinatra on all day long. They loved them. They loved Frank Sinatra. And my mother did. When she was a Bobby Soxer, she went to New York and tried to grab Frank's shoes. You know, they gave all those concerts. They were small. They would just sing like 5 concerts a day in those days. What's Mick do? 1 and make a million? Anyway, the Drywallers listen to Sinatra while they work. This morning, my mother, here for the holidays, is washing the breakfast dishes. When Al, wiry, coated with drywall dust, takes her hand and says, "I bet you loved Sinatra. Dance?" The acrid smell of plaster floats through the room. Frank is singing All or Nothing at All. And Al leads my mother under the spinning ballroom lights across the new subfloor. He is smiling. She is looking over his shoulder. The other guys turn off their sanders. Al and my mother move through the dust. 2 kids back together after the war. Sinatra holds his last note. It's been 7 years since I danced, my mother says. Then it was in the kitchen too. Al smiles again, says, "Come on then, sweetheart," biting off his words like the ends of the good cigars he carries in his pocket. Sinatra singing My Funny Valentine. and my mother lays her hand in Al's. They dance again, she looking away when she catches my eye. Al leading her back across the layers of dust. Take care, be kind, try to be cheerful. Man, it's tough right now. It's so hard. Thanks.